Alright, welcome to Jim's Guitar Garage. Today we have this Les Paul Studio in the shop. We've got a broken output jack plate over here. It's one of the plastic ones, so we have a replacement for it right here. So we're going to be replacing that. And then we're basically going to do a string change and a whole setup on this. So I've already taken the liberty of removing the strings. And then let's get started. We'll start out with the output jack. So all we're going to do is use a 1/2 inch socket here. All you do is loosen this up. Make sure you don't let the inside spin or you'll end up busting the wires. Alright, this one actually has a serrated washer, so that's good. Alright, now for the new one, put the serrated washer on the inside. And actually, before we do that, we got to pull out the 4 broken screws. Or sorry, the 4 screws from the broken end. So this is what it looks like. Alright, so we'll pull the 4 of these out. And pull the little plastic bits off. To lose one already. So keep track of your screws. There's one of the plastic pieces. So I think one of them fell into this drawer. One of these drawers. Yep, there it is. Which reminds me, have a little parts bin handy. Put all your small parts in here. Alright, now that we've got all the little plastic bits off of there, looks like the wiring is good. Alright, we're going to go ahead and put that, you want one of these type of washers on the inside. And then we're going to put the plastic next. And a flat washer. And the nut. So we're going to tighten that up really good. And then we're going to insert this in, put the 4 screws back in, and then we should be good to go. And then we simply just put this back in. Once we get the 4 screws in, we'll go ahead and tighten it up all the way. We just want to make sure it's not going to spin from the inside. Alright, so that part's done. I notice this switch is sticking just a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to get some deoxit. So if you haven't seen this before, I highly recommend you get some if you are any kind of guitar tech, or if you just repairing your own guitars. This cleans up a lot of all your pots and everything. So we're just going to spray this in here, work it back and forth. good to go. We'll clean that up real quick. Just a little bit of the spray I got on the guitar. So we should be fine. Alright, next thing, let's we're gonna check this neck. So we'll put this over here. It's our old. So you're gonna need one of these. This happens to be neck check guitars. This is the Gibson scale. Just gonna put this on here, hold it up to the light. And then what we want to try to do is get this thing as close to flat as possible. So we're going to have to pull these screws out from the headstock. Let me reposition the camera real quick. Alright. So we're going to pull the truss rod cover off real quick. Again, putting our parts in a small parts bin. Okay. Handy truss rod wrench. One of these is a Gibson. There we go. So you can get one like this, or you can also get a socket. You can put it in there. These cruise tools sets have a bunch of different sizes in there. So we're going to tighten this up a little bit. And let me get my feeler gauges. All my tools over here. We're going to go to about 4 thousandths. Make sure this is flat enough where a 4 thousandths doesn't fit under around the 8th and 9th fret. So got a little ways to go. Getting close. It's scraping right now, so this one wasn't too bad, but it definitely had some bow in it. There we go. Fits under the 10th fret, but that's about it. Yeah, 10th and 12th fret slips under, so we'll do just a little bit tighter. Alright, we're good. So now that's nice and flat, so once we put string tension on it, that is going to give us just enough of a curve. So we should be done with that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to clean up this fretboard. We're going to polish some frets. So we're going to polish the frets first, and then with all that mess that's left. So we're going to go ahead and polish these frets up first, and then we'll clean up everything all at once, all the mess that's left. So you're going to want a set of these fingerboard protectors. And they come in 2 sizes, so you can use the smaller ones for down here, because this, once you get past about the, I don't know, about the 18th and 19th fret, they don't fit. So what I use, and I'm sure you've seen this in some of my other videos, is these are just used for your nails. They have 4 different sizes. I only use these 2 sizes for frets unless they're really, really bad, because these are pretty rough on this side. And all we're going to do is we're going to start with the gray side, which on this particular one happens to be step 3, and it says step 4 on it. So this is very, very smooth. There's not much grit to it at all, which is what we want. We don't want to take up too much of the fret here. We're just trying to polish it and get any kind of corrosion or grit or dirt or whatever is on here off, and just give it a nice shine, so when we do bends, it'll bend nicely. So we'll work our way down here to the till we hit the smaller. And we're going to come back with step 4, which happens to be the pink one on this one, and this is will really polish them. If they're really bad, you can also use fret erasers, which I have, but these ones are actually pretty clean. You just need a nice smoothing over. But if your frets are really bad or corroded, or if it's been sitting under your bed unplayed or something, or somebody brings one in that's been sitting around for a long time, they're all corroded, you definitely want to start with the fret erasers first and then use these as your final step. Alright, almost done. So now we're down to the last few frets. We're going to switch back over to the gray. And then back to the pink side. Get these last 4 frets. We should be good. Now, since these frets aren't that dirty, since this fretboard is fairly clean, we're just going to use just a little bit of rubbing alcohol. There is some, a little bit of DNA on here, a little bit of sweat and grossness from fingers. And this is obviously, as you can see, it's a maple board, so it's already got a finish on it, so I'm not too worried about using it's not an unfinished board, so I'm not worried about using alcohol on it and drying it out. And then what we'll do is we check the fret ends. Ooh, these fret ends are pretty nasty. Alright, next thing, dress the fret ends. This is a Fret Guru file. So some of these, let's see. I just want to feel if it's the tang. No, it feels like it's all just the fret end. So what you're going to do with this has 2 flat surfaces. One is really smooth, one is a little bit rougher, but you're going to run that flat surface on, and then hopefully you can see this. Let me bring up the camera just a little bit. Alright, let's clean up these frets. So you're going to give it a curve motion. Alright, the next thing we want to do is we're getting down a little bit lower here. We're going to start protecting the finish. We also don't want to get a bunch of metal flakes in our pickup, so alright, we're back. All the red ends have been cleaned up. Next is just we're going to put some strings on to do a quick setup. String flavor of the day is D'Addario EXL 110s. So we're going to string this up real quick. Let me clean this up real fast. Strings have been changed, fret ends have been cleared. So next thing we're going to check is we want to check the neck relief. If you remember, we adjusted the truss rod earlier, so we're going to check it. For most Gibsons, I like to set it to about somewhere between 10 to 12,000. So I've got these out here. I check it at the 8th fret. So the first thing you want to do is put a capo on your very first fret. So we're going to check this. It should be good because we did adjust it earlier where the neck was flat. Alright, the 10 is just slipping under. The 12 is barely dragging, so that's perfect. I'm not going to mess with that at all. It's right where we want it. Alright, so after that, go ahead and check that off on here. We're going to check the action. So I checked that at the 17th fret. We want about 3/64 on the high E, and we are just barely below it, and we want about 4 to 5/64 or 1/16 and 5/64 on the bass side, and we are right there. Let me just double check that one more time. Alright. This side needs to come up just a slight bit, so we're just going to move that up. You can make slight adjustments with it under string tension, but I don't recommend making. Okay, perfect. We are right at 364, so action is perfect. Take that off. Next, we're going to check intonation. Better tuner on the headstock. I know you probably can't see that, it's out of the picture. But we have a TC Electronics up here. So we're going to go ahead and check that. Oh, no. It's pretty good. Stayed in tune from yesterday. Very, very slightly flat. So, flat tip. Okay, perfect. Alright, perfect. We only had to adjust the A slightly. So if that was from the factory, they did a great job. Alright, now, so we'll check that off on my little list here. Next thing is the nut slot. I'll show you a quick way to check it. But you can also check it with these right here, feeler gauges. I usually adjust them to about 18 to 20,000, about 18 for the high strings and then about 20 for the low strings. But the easiest way you can do it, and I hope you can see this, and I'm sure you've seen this in other videos, is you just push down on the 3rd fret and then you just tap this, and there should just be a very slight, very slight and it looks like we're good. So there should just be a very slightly, you just push it down and it should be like right there. You can always measure it, but I just do that as a simple method to tell if I got to do it or not. If you push down on this at the 3rd fret and then it's sitting on it, that means and it's like sitting on this fret, then that means your nut slots are cut too low. If you have to push really hard and there's a big gap in there, then you're definitely going to have to adjust that. So since we're done with that, and somebody's mowing outside, I don't know if you guys are picking that up. Okay, this thing does not want to come up. Even with fingernails, I can't get it. There we go. So we'll put this truss rod cover back in here since we're done with that. next thing we want to check is the pickup height. So you can, there's several places you can pick these up. These are, I just use Allen wrenches. So if you look on like say StuMac's website, they have ones that are brass. And then this is going to be for your bass side, this is going to be your treble side. So you want to push down at the last fret, and then this should just squeeze in there. This one. And a lot of Gibsons have just a flat head instead of, okay, so that fits there. And our bridge is way, way too close. It's almost touching. So we're going to back that off a little bit. Basically, you're doing, you know, this is just a starting point, and you can always adjust from here, but the main thing is you don't want your strings hitting your pickups. Yeah, too close. And with a Strat, you'll get these weird artifacts, and it'll actually have it'll actually cause a warbling sound with a Strat if it's too close. Tiny bit more. Okay, there we go. Pickup height is done. So we'll check those two things off. So everything's done, so we're just going to cut these string remnants off, and this guitar is good to go. Alright, aloha, till next time.